What is up, guys? Ian here from Co-Create Today, taking your mindset of lack to a mindset of abundance. So today I just want to talk about the paradox of life and death. So I just had an amazing conversation with my roommate, and I would say that we're very similar, spiritually evolved, enlightened. And what we were talking about is kind of how two ends of the spectrum define the spectrum. And life and death are actually the paradox of living your life right now. It's very interesting because we can take this onto any paradox and any polarity there is. We can look at light and day. But light and day come together to give you the day. Like the present moment. And even though it's dark outside, I can still have light inside. And paradoxically, when it's light outside, I can still have it dark inside. But what we're stepping away from is that present moment that we're living in. So basically, I'm making this video just to describe how, yes, you have two different, complete opposite things. I understand that. Like, I don't know how they're similar. I don't know how people categorize them as the same, but that's exactly it. You can't have one thing without another. You can't have space without an object. So in this relationship, we create a bond. We create something. And it's in that creating where we find that silver lining. And I honestly believe that life is just a trip to find your silver lining. Because as we go on, we're always going to be affected by this thing called polarities and this thing called life. But life is just a full spectrum of different things. But through those different things, we're supposed to find what's alike. You might be questioning, well, if they're different, then how can they be alike? Well, if they weren't different, you couldn't have anything that were alike. So that's the paradox that is happening at every single moment of our lives. Is we're trying to explain something philosophical, but the only way to do so is through a secular action. And then we're trying to just solve something secular, and all we do is describe it in a spiritual and enlightenment process. You just can't win, can you? But whether or not you're a more secular person or a spiritual person, we're all going to eventually get to the same line. But how we do so is definitely a different process. But I like to think that we can get there equally. However, in doing so, you have to have both sides of the spectrum. And if you're a very spiritual person, you're probably going to get hit by the secular pretty hard. And if you're a very secular person, you're probably going to get hit by the spiritual pretty hard. But either way, we're going to find that silver lining. The two come together to create one. And that's a great symbology that we see every single day. The yin and yang lives off this completely. You have a red, or you have a black, and you have a white. And they're they're kind of like chasing each other, but in the black you have a white dot, and in the white you have a black dot, and they're all kind of like flowing, they're chasing each other. And this is symbolizing that process. We're always chasing for something that's already there, it's right behind us. But you would never be able to get to that point if you weren't chasing and being chased. It's the paradox. So what I'm trying to explain, the basis of this video is that everything is a paradox. And if you try to explain something to be hard facts and real, you're not going to ever have that point of being truly real. The only way to do so is to throw out the complete opposite, and in return, fundamentally creating something very real. I know this is very abstract. Potentially you probably won't understand, but these are just my thoughts. And these are the conversations that I live for. And this is basically a summary of what I just witnessed and what I experienced with my roommate, who is a very spiritually involved human being. And for me to be that, who I am, to have conversations like that, means the world, and it really connects the dots. So if you can potentially keep along with what I had to say, I mean, you're already on the other side. And that's where we're trying to get to. The other side. Because we forgot we're already here. Hope you guys have a beautiful day. And I'll catch you later. Thanks, guys. It's very adjusty.